And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Sorry, everyone, for a couple minutes delayed. When your 92-year-old mom calls, you got to pick up the phone. That's all I can say. When mom calls, you just got to do it. This is, of course, Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from the Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcast. On this week's episode of the PCC Multiverse on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel, also available as a member for the members out there for the Lakers Fast Break on YouTube. It is the second part for Josh and I as far as Video Game Fantasy League. We picked the best of the best as far as what we think will be the best of the best in video game world. It was a great and fun episode. Hopefully get a chance to check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or if you're a member on the Lakers Fast Break. And if you guys want, give me a shout out there if you can in the comments at some point in time. Let me know all those stuff that I make available for members first. Let me know if you actually want me to release that after a period of time for everyone else. If you're interested, I can just go ahead and just release all my Inside Sports, fantasy footballs, the Pop Culture Cosmos up in the future, stuff like that. I can do stuff like that if I want to. So, if after the members get a hold of it, if you guys want to check it out on this channel on YouTube, let me know right there for you. And I'll do that. I'll do that after a period of time. Members first, but everybody will get a chance to see if they want. Just let me know in the comments below. Indeed. But of course, it is Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for joining us. Wanted to go ahead and also give a shout out to the Lakerholics crew, Lakerholics.com. Sometimes, speaking of aged, those guys, they don't get around to deciding whether or not they want to do a show or not. So I have to pry them. And I said, are you guys doing a show tomorrow at 11? Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm available. All right. So it looks like somebody will be here tomorrow, Saturday morning at 11 a.m. for the Lakerholics room. Maybe me hosting, maybe Jamie hosting, but Laker Tom and Michael both said they will be there. So go ahead and check out the Lakerholics group from Lakerholics.com tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. for your Lakers viewing pleasure indeed. Release the files. Yes. Okay. I'll do that. I'll do that in the future. I'll leave like a 2, 3, 4 day buffer, something like that, but I will eventually release the files, as they say. nice to say, Roger. There you go. Need Gerald content indeed. Absolutely. Okay, no worries. I'll do that. So all my stuff I will go ahead release after a period of time, but members always get it first. And remember, there's just $2.99 for a month, so you can get it first right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Also, as well, drum roll, please. So I don't know who's coming on tonight. Joe is somewhere prancing around watching exhibition baseball. Oh boy, in Arizona. I guess John is doing something or other, so he couldn't make it. Hopefully Legend can join up. And if Mark, you want to come on, I forgot to ask you, Mark. I gave you a link, so you can always do that. I have here what's in the box. What's in the box? Brad Pitt said, what's in the box? It's not Gwyneth Paltrow's head. It's not her head. No. Spoilers. But it is something great for my man, Drip Show, at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. We are going to be running a contest. That's right. We're going to be running a contest for our viewers out there. And you, if I guess, I don't know if it's, I believe it's continental U.S. only, as far as, because he has to ship it and whatnot. So anybody in the continental US that's a subscriber to this channel, look at that right there, young mama. I have not seen this yet. You are seeing it the first time. I am as well. It is, of course, a Kobe Bryant skateboard right there. Very, very awesome. Look at that detail. Look at that right there. The Black Mamba right there in action, ready to go ahead and do a slam dunk. This is and could be yours if you're in the continental United States from at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. We'll be running, or we'll be starting up a contest here in the coming days where you can win one of these to display or use. But it looks like in these days in the world of pop culture that people are actually using this for display in a lot of cases, especially in California, Southern California type feel. But if you're into skateboards and you got right here for a Kobe Young Mamba slam dunk skateboard, you might win one courtesy of Drip Show at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. So for followers of him and subscribers for me, we're going to be running a contest. So hopefully somebody in the continental US will be able to win that baby right there. Indeed. Absolutely. So the Lakers, kind of worried, to be honest with you, going into tonight against the Indiana Pacers, because Indiana, yes, I know they're bad. I know they're tanking, but you never know with the Lakers this season, because the Lakers also came back from Denver late, didn't get a full 24 hours rest. You don't know what's going to happen when you get a back-to-back with also LeBron James, who, yes, I forgot to congratulate at becoming the all-time NBA field goals leader, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He is out of the lineup because of his issue with his elbow that he banged. You saw on the floor if you saw the game on Thursday. DeAndre Ayton, I guess, has a legit knee injury, knee soreness. He is listed as day-to-day going forward. And Maxi Kleber with his back day-to-day going forward. So all three guys out. What would happen? Well, you gave the keys to Luka, and he took it, and he took it all the way, starting off strong. Another huge first quarter for Luka Doncic for him. Absolutely just cannot. There you go. Drip Show Shop at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. Huge start for Luka Doncic today. Got the guys off on a great note. Absolutely fantastic. Getting the Lakers to a 35-27 lead. Once again, Luka taking it all on himself tonight in that first quarter. And in fact, you could say offensively, he was the Lakers offense for a great portion of the time, because the Lakers did not really have anyone really gelling on the offensive side of the ball. Now, I know that Nick T will come out here and say, oh, he was selfish, this and that. The Lakers needed his offense on the second game of a back-to-back. Let's just be clear. If you don't want to say that, that's fine. But the Lakers, struggling outside of Luka Doncic today, needed his 22 points in the first quarter and 44 points overall in the game through three quarters. They just gave him the fourth quarter off, essentially. Has Drip Show been on this show before? We'd love to meet him. He does occasionally, Carino, stop by our Discord. You can ask the mods about our Discord if you're interested in joining our Discord. So he goes there. But Drip Show, he knows he just has to ask to come on. I send him a link and he's on. If he ever wants to come on, he's more than welcome to. But that's all up to him. But yes, subscribers and followers to Drip Show Shop at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribers right here for you. So we're going to be going, if you're both, we're going to be running a contest just for you guys out there. All right, indeed. But it is, of course, the Lakers fast break, and the Lakers, again, really with a great performance from Luka Doncic, 44 points in the first three quarters. And the Lakers, after that, essentially carried it home. They had a lead by as much in the 20s, and they put the scrubs in there, the young guys in there, the young guys, everybody, including myself, asked us to go ahead and see more of. Well, unfortunately, we got a taste of them, and it wasn't really a good taste. Noah Thiero, though. Thiero was the only one that didn't play. He's the one I think everybody wants to see the most. Maybe it's injury related. I don't know. But, if you got wanted your taste of Chris Mannion, Bronny James, Kobe Buffkin, Dalton Connect, and Drew Timme, you got it tonight. And it wasn't a great taste. But again, that didn't really matter because the Lakers already had the game out of hand. Austin Reeves chipped in with 19. Not a great shooting day for him. 6 of 7 from the line, 19 points overall. But Luka with the 44 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and on a game where the Lakers just didn't have it many other places, although Luke Kennard coming off the bench with 15 points, 3 of 5 from behind the arc. Once again, the guy's money from behind the arc. We were talking about it, that he is second all time in 3-point percentage, and he actually did better than that today because he's 44% all time, and he was 3 of 5 today, 6 of 9 overall, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists for him. Absolutely a solid effort. Rui Hashimura back in the starting lineup. They're okay. 13 points, 2 of 3 shooting from him from behind the arc, 3 rebounds. Jaxson Hayes getting the start because of DeAndre Ayton being out, 9 points and 4 rebounds for him. Marcus Smart with 11. But again, Luka Doncic with that big 44-point game, and the Lakers essentially cruised, because they were up by in the 20s. They sat down the guys with 4 minutes, 5 minutes left in the game. And, even though the young guys reeled the game back, still never was in doubt. Lakers win 128-117. Let me hear your thoughts out there. Nick T. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yes. Bunch of boss bombs on Social Security. Yeah. Again, I don't know what you're asking for, Nick, because you just don't get it. Okay. On a day where the Lakers look like really not that good, they look like they were on the second day of a 2-day back-to-back deal. They needed every point they could get from Luka Doncic today. So I don't know what you want him to do. It just seems like he can do no right in your eyes. So again, Nick, you're starting to lose credibility with us in your statements. So you gotta come clear. If you don't like Luka, I get it. You don't like Luka, and you can be fair and unbiased in that as far as that opinion is concerned. I get it. I understand that. He does things that you don't like, and he does things that a lot of us don't like. I get that. I understand it. But I know that the narrative that is being written by national media is that a large portion of the Lakers audience, the Lakers fans, do not like or beginning to not like Luka Doncic. I don't think that's the case. Nick T is still a very vocal minority. I know that Jovan Buha was on the Ryan Russillo show stating that, and he gets the feedback. He does shows like us. He knows it, that right now Luka is still endeared by most of the crowd and chat that's in this chat tonight. I know that with Joe sometimes swings too far a little bit, because in his eyes, sometimes Luka can do no wrong. I don't think it should go that far. I do think that Luka has flaws in his game. Obviously, yelling at the refs is one of them. It's cost him. He's 1 T away from getting a suspension. I understand that there are cases where and we've said this, and I said this on Discord, where he takes the ball and shoots too much and does too much on offense on himself, putting too much on himself. But today, that's exactly what they needed, and that's exactly what they got with a great performance from Luka. So even when he has a great performance, Nick, you cannot at all give him any credit whatsoever. That's what's disappointing. You saw tonight that the Lakers needed every one of his 44 points tonight, yet you are not willing to go ahead and give him credit for it. And that's the disappointing part, is because your blinding hatred, because I don't like to call people haters on this, but it just seems like it's a blinding hatred towards Luka, and it won't allow him to be successful in any way, shape, or form. It's disappointing. I can understand you not liking it. That's fine. I get it. I understand it. But at this point, you have to give him credit. It was a tanking team. Sure, absolutely. This is a game where they should have won, under any circumstances. But the fact that this team did not perform well outside of one individual, you have to start giving that individual at least a little bit of credit. So, yes. Yes. Yeah, he complimented Gerald today. Yes. Gerald traded Crosby. Yes. What are you going to do, JSJ? What are you going to do? I mean, so again, Nick T, it's all good, my friend. Nothing but love, man. And I understand. If you don't like Luka, you don't like Luka. And I get it. I understand. He's got issues with his defense. He's got issues. We've talked about this 100 times on this show, that I wish there were certain things he would shore up in his game. But today, the Lakers needed every single point that they got from him today. Xbox, man, jump on. It's your weekend, man. Or are you walking? If you're walking, that's cool, my friend. But it's, of course, the Lakers fast break. I think I sent you the link. Let me know if you didn't, or let me know if you're going to jump on. If he didn't super chat, he would be gone. No, Nick T's cool, man. Nick T's cool. I understand it, but he is not disrespectful in the fact that he curses or says anything mean. He just does not like Luka, and that's fine. A lot of people in this chat don't like LeBron. Mark, hint, 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 hint. And that's what I like. I just call it like I see it. I don't have a love for Luka or a love for LeBron or a hate for Luka or a hate for. I just love the Lakers, man, and I just want to see them win. I don't care how it's done sometimes, especially on a day like today when they come in tired on one of the longer back to backs because the Denver to LA or LA to Denver back to back is one of the rougher back to backs in the NBA schedule, and it's usually not a good scenario. Indiana's been here for a few days in Los Angeles, so again, this was looking like a trap game, as Jamie Sweet would say, and they did what, and it ended up not being because of Luka, and you got to go ahead and give him his props today. Intel Wild, what's going on? Appreciate it. Absolutely. Let's get those likes up in the chat. If you guys are here, I truly appreciate you stopping by. It is Friday night with the Lakers. The Lakers do get the victory tonight, 128 to 117. That's 38 and 25. Standings have been updated. The Lakers are still in sixth place in the Western Conference. They're back now a half game behind the Denver Nuggets. They're one win behind the Denver Nuggets right now in the Western Conference. Would have been great if we got that victory last night. I told you guys they're competitive in Denver, but they just can't find that victory continuously over a shaky team at home in the Denver Nuggets. Houston, also beware, they're a game and a half behind them, but they're only a game behind in the win column. So if Houston struggles at all, the Lakers have a chance to get as high as fourth. It's starting to look like Minnesota is starting to solidify themselves as of now in the Western Conference in the third place. I know it's a team that we don't often talk about because Minnesota struggled early, but Minnesota looks like they're solidifying themselves now at third place in the Western Conference. So the Lakers right now may have to start just thinking to focus on fourth. They're not entirely out of third place in the Western Conference, but yeah, absolutely. They can. Tough So says, can we beat New York, New York, New York on Sunday? I believe they can. I believe they can, Tough. LeBron has already said that he will be back for the New York Knicks game. I think partly because it's the New York Knicks and partly because he was on a day-to-day basis anyways. I don't know the status of Ayton and also as well Kleber outside of them being listed at day-to-day, but if you're on Twitter, I do retweet the injury reports as soon as I get them out indeed. SB, Nick, if you want to be hard on someone, SB, Indiana fan, couldn't get it done tonight. Your team, I know, is headed towards the lottery, my friend. I feel bad for you. I feel sorry for you. But again, we were talking about it. Mark actually said it best because about the turnaround with this team when they went from a possible 7-game series victory and world championship, and all of a sudden their top player Halliburton, who Nick T compliments on and likes his play, and I can't say I blame him because Halliburton is a great point guard, and let's give him his props as well. Nick T is absolutely right on that. Blows out his Achilles, and that changed the whole dynamic for the organization. So they go from a team on the verge of a championship to a team on the verge of being the one of the worst teams in the NBA. Arcarino says, Gerald, why do people dislike LeBron? What specifically do they not like about him? LeBron is not young anymore, so maybe folks need to take that into account. I don't know. I'll tell you from my perspective. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, but I tell you from my perspective, Arcarino, I was a big LeBron supporter, and I've always said, okay, if you were to go into the lab and create the uh, best thing you could, the best player, NBA player you could, size is what you'd look for, ability, athleticism, the ability to pass, the ability to handle the ball, ability to shoot the ball, all those aspects. You might come out of there with LeBron James at his peak, as far as I'm concerned, a 6'8", 280-pound guy who could just speed like a gazelle through, back and forth as far as in transition, could defend, could block shots, could do everything, seemingly as peak, well, except shoot free throws well, but that's beside the point. But and he was such a great player for me to observe and appreciate for so many years, even before he joined the Lakers. But it's just the noise. I've told you this before, Carino. I don't know if you've heard my rants on LeBron. It's the noise. I used to defend LeBron when he first came to Lakers, and it came on, and people were still already, because for a lot of people, LeBron James has been a no for them from the get go. Um, and a lot of it is because the fact they already didn't like all the noise that surrounds him, all the stuff that he does on social media, the decisions, number one and number two, all those things that he has to, all those things he doesn't need to do. People talk about if he went and he ring chased next year, if he went to, let's just say San Antonio for the minimum, or he went to Oklahoma City for the minimum, and he's just chasing a ring, that hurt his legacy. I don't think it'll hurt his legacy at all. I think what hurts his legacy is all the shenanigans that he's done over the years, like going to the Knicks game in Knicks colors, and that he did a couple years ago. The hourglass tweet, the fact that he was intentionally warming up in front of a Clippers logo at the old Clippers workout facility during the summer. The fact that he's palling around with Nikola Jokic's agent on the south of France. The decision, like I said, one and two, and the theatrics of each, these type of things, it does, the passive aggressiveness over the years, the statement, those kind of things are very difficult to defend. And that's what really, as a player, I still appreciate immensely the greatness that LeBron James has brought to this game. But it's just, I got tired, Arcarino, to be honest with you. It just gets so tiring to defend his actions when all the stuff around him, he doesn't need to happen. Doesn't even happen. It just, it doesn't need to happen. And that's the part it's just so tiring to have out there. So again, that's as someone, sounds like it, I think you said you're newer to the game as far as is concerned, and newer to the Laker fandom and whatnot. There are people that have been turned off day one, like Luka, like Nick T with Luka, like Nick T with Luka. They've been turned off day one since LeBron's arrival here, and they have every right to go ahead and feel that way. And Nick T has every right to feel that way about Luka because of what he thinks he brings to this team. And I get that, and I certainly understand it. And LeBron James certainly brought a lot of that when he came here as a free agent, as far as a lot of this excess stuff that you don't really need, as far as that's concerned. So I think that's what, if to answer your question, I think that's the problem that I think a lot of people have, is he makes it all about him sometimes, and that's it, and not the bigger picture, and not the team sometimes. He puts his theatrics and his antics, that noise that surrounds him, a lot up to the forefront, and it's just, it doesn't need to happen. So there you go. That's it. It's not hate, it's disappointment for me. It's not disappointment in any way, stretch at all. El Roaster. It's not any disappointment. It's not any hate at all. I have no hate for LeBron James. I'm just disappointed with all the noise. It ruins his legacy a little bit in my eyes. I mean, no one can take the fact he's one of the greatest players of all time. He's had one of the greatest careers of all time. He's playing better at 40 and 41 than anyone has ever had in the NBA statistically. I get that. I understand that. Is it $52.6 million worth? No, it's not. But still, he is playing at a level unlike we've ever seen from any 40 or 41 ever. Okay. And I'm going to give him his props in that. And congratulations to him for being the all time field goal leader. But when it comes to LeBron, all the excess noise, didn't need to be there. And I think that's why people have LeBron rubbed the wrong way. With Luka, it's about what he does out there, and that rubs people the wrong way. And it's about that with Nick T. With Nick T, it's it's fact that, does he shoot too much in his eyes? Yes, Nick T has said that. Does he not play defense well enough? That's a big one in everybody's eyes as far as his defense. Will he when he gets a team that surrounds him, that is capable of going back to the finals, will he play enough defense that will get him across the threshold and be a champion? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question because I've seen him play defense. He has played at times defense this year that makes you say, "Hey, look, if he puts this together for a longer stretch or in a playoff stretch, he can make things happen." I don't know if he'll do that in a playoff stretch, but I think he will. I believe he will with the right team surrounding him. But why doesn't he do that more often in games? I can't tell you because it maybe it's an effort thing, maybe put so much on the offensive end. And again, not trusting your teammates and allowing for the ball to be shared more in a lot of games. I agree with Nick T on that. But this was a game today that the Lakers were not shooting well, not efficient, not very efficient. They needed a kickstart on the offense. They got one in Luka. So Luka does deserve his flowers for today. And I think even Nick T would go ahead and say that or should say that. So all we ask for is effort. And he gave it to you today, Nick T. He gave something that the Lakers absolutely needed. This was a game where you needed your star to get you across. The rest of the team just didn't have it or didn't have enough, I should say. They needed Luka and he got it done. And once again, Luka El Rosa says Luka will never approach the greatness of LeBron. Luka has about 5 years left to be peak Luka. Trade him now. Well, see, there you go. El Rosto is in the camp of Nick T as far as maybe not being his favorite thing. I don't know. They just don't have a team that's built around Luka as of yet. So I don't know what it looks like when it does, whether or not I could say I need to see a team that's built for Luka to decide whether or not he is going to achieve that level of success or not. Because I know Joe has virtually guaranteed 2 championships here on this show. I don't guarantee any championships for any team, even the Lakers, because we don't know what's up ahead. They suffer an injury in the playoffs. They could be leading the league by 20 games. Something could happen, and then all of a sudden it falls apart. I thought that team after the three-peat, I thought that team was going to walk away with the title because they started off so great that season. So great that season. And they had Karl Malone. They had Gary Payton. I mean, 2 Hall of Famers right there with the same team that just won 3 in a row. What could go wrong? Well, see there, anything could go wrong. So I'm not guaranteeing titles down the road with Luka, but I'd like to see a team that better fits his style of play. And again, it's going to ask for a lot of changes, and I hope that there will be a lot of changes taking place. But I'm not going to go ahead and sit here and tell you this about LeBron or tell you this about Luka and tell you it's that is the gospel. But I tell you how I see it when it comes to them. And Luka had a great game today. He had to put the team on his back. And there's just games like that. In an 82 game schedule, sometimes you just need your star to go ahead and get it done for you. And that's what they did. That's what they did tonight. So again, great to have you here. The Lakers, they do win tonight. 128 to 117. The Lakers still in 6th place, but now they're actually a game. Actually a half game behind the Denver Nuggets in 6th place in the Western Conference. Their next game is on 12:30. It's an early game for you guys out there. 12:30 p.m. Pacific on Sunday against the New York Knickerbockers. So hopefully you guys are out there. Share thoughts on how they'll do on Sunday. Vari said, how long will it take the Lakers to get a team around Luka? Well, it better start off with this summer, Vari. I'm not a very patient guy. I've said while you have, and in fact, we'll go back to what El Rosto was saying. And by the way, big shout out to El Rosto because he helped make this happen right here. Big shout out to El Rosto. He helped make this happen. He wanted to put it towards a contest as far as a donation to us. That's what we did. I gave it to Chris. He put this together. And if you are in the continental US, I'm going to be going ahead right and get a contest started here in the not too distant future where you can win one of these right here. This Young Mamba skateboard, courtesy of @TripShop, El Rosto, and the Lakers Fast Break. Big shout out to El Rosto. Truly appreciate everything he's done for this channel. I know that we have our disagreements at times, but again, no one can take away all the great things that El Rosto and Drip Show have done for the Lakers Fast Break. Have I watched Yellowstone, Roger? Yeah, it's okay. I've watched a few episodes. It's okay. Um, I have I mean, who can argue with the success, right? Who can argue with the success that they have on Paramount Plus? So absolutely done. I know that you guys wanted me to talk about Cody Rhodes winning the title back tonight at SmackDown. Thought Drew McIntyre was hot. Yeah, was hotter as a champion right now. Because it's all based off of what's hot, what's cold right now. What do you give the who do you give the push to? Who do you not give the push to? And it just seems like WWE is directionless right now heading into WrestleMania. And I'm still thinking about going. Still not 100% sure if I'm going to go. I don't know if I want to spend $800 on tickets right now for it, but yeah, it's just it's not the product right now. It looks like the business goes in waves, in ups and downs waves as far as professional wrestling as a whole, hot and cold. And of course, we were riding a hot streak where both AEW and WWE, as far as match wise or creative wise, were riding a high in 2023 and 2024 and 2025, in my opinion. And looks like it's getting a little cooler right now for the WWE, and I'll just say that. So I'm hoping to get a comp, JSJ, but I don't know about that one. I don't know if my insides can get me a comp for WrestleMania. It's been that last year was I was told right away, no, I can't get you a comp for that one. So R. Carino said, when would you say was the golden era of WWE and why? Well, I have two answers for you. First off, the easy answer is the Attitude Era. Between 1997 and 2001, I think maybe you could say 2002, but I would say 2001. That obviously was a hot period for the company. They were a company that coming into it was in kind of disarray. WCW had taken over as the number one, 83 weeks. Of course, Eric Bischoff even has a show named after how many weeks they were ahead of the ratings. This was when ratings were the number one barometer for wrestling as far as a wrestling company is concerned. And the creative just took off because the fact of what happened at Survivor Series with Shawn Michaels and of course Bret Hart and the Mr. McMahon character that took off. That was a great period. And the other golden period, you have to say financially for the company, was when they gave the title to Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania started. And he went on a 4-year run. I mean, it blew the company blew up with him as the title holder. Everything seemed to click well. They found the right heels of the month, the right monsters to throw at him. They turned Andre the Giant. It obviously led to that WrestleMania 3 huge house in Detroit, that huge crowd in Detroit to go ahead and see WrestleMania 3. And it led to it led for the company for quite a while, for about 4-year period of there where they were just sizzling and on fire, not just for the pay-per-views, but also as well from the arena standpoint as well. You're talking about 12, 13, 15,000 people seeing these. I went to the LA Sports Arena to watch Hulk Hogan battle Kamala, to battle One Man Gang, to battle some of these other big monsters on just the arena shows. And they were drawing huge. They were selling out huge. And sometimes they're running 2-3 shows. They had 2-3 different groups a day running shows across the country. That is also peak time for or golden age for at least the WWE in that sense. For professional wrestling, I don't know, because as their success started to explode, the territories themselves started to fade into oblivion. So it went like this, from one extreme to the other. So those are my two peak times. You could also go ahead and mention the time with the WWE in this decade when they were in 2022, 23, 24 with the Cody Rhodes storylines and whatnot, and the company riding that type of wave of business to never before seen heights revenue wise for that company. I mean, the company will never earn more revenue, has never earned more revenue, even close to that, than they have now. I mean, they actually earned more revenue than the UFC last year. I believe that's what the financials came out last week and said. So yeah, that just it's just a great storyline that again, it's hot and cold, and right now it's WWE is a little cold right now. Xbox is bunch of men in tights. Yeah, Xbox, you gonna jump on, my friend? You want to talk Luka a little bit? Let me know. I think I sent you the link. Please let me know right there if you want to go ahead and jump on. Rosa says, I don't even know what we were talking about wrestling. Isn't that fake? Okay, again, I'll get back to the Lakers, Rosa. And once again, JSJ was asking before we started on the show. Not everybody's a cup of tea, professional wrestling. I get that. And yes, it is matches predetermined. Moves are altered to look real but not be real, etc., etc. So yes, I'll say that. But the Lakers do get the victory, 128 to 117. It's Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for joining me right here on the Lakers post game. Sports Baby says Luka team on the other side of the court, and Luka still complaining about. Again, he is only himself to blame on that. To support what Nick T says about Luka, because he complains about, he knows already that he's 2 away from getting suspended. JJ mentioned it that morning in a press conference. He is aware of it, and they said they were trying to curb. And he makes one smart remark. He knows they should just go ahead and shut up. But he said one expletive the ref took the wrong way, and he's going to get a short whistle. They just have no tolerance for him right now. And he's got to understand that. And if he doesn't, then he's going to get more texts. He's going to be suspended, and that's going to hurt our team. I should bring on Pablo Torre. Yes, Roger. I did see the video earlier today, Roger. Very interesting. They might have, I don't know if it's the smoking gun, but it is if you go ahead and check out the latest, Pablo Torre finds out they were at the same conference that earlier in the day Adam Silver was at, sitting in the same chair that Adam Silver was sitting in. And they've put what they think might be the final straw for the Kawhi case it was the initial documents that started the investigation into aspiration, to paraphrase. Please check out the video because they explain it better than I can. But in doing so, they found that that I guess the one of the people, a whistleblower basically was the reason they started the federal investigation into aspiration and eventually convicted the head of aspiration. And in that affidavit, in the statement about from the whistleblower, they talked about how the whistleblower stated that part of the money was being funneled from the Clippers with the intention of circumventing the salary cap. So I don't know if you want to call that a smoking gun, but it's right there. It sounds like a whistleblower inside aspiration with full knowledge of the situation stated that in a federal case under anonymity. And again, it's looking more and more like you cannot help but do something if you're Adam Silver. I understand you don't want to because you have your sugar daddy is the one that's responsible for this. But hey, I'm sorry. It's looking more like the writing's on the wall on that one. What was it? JY said Triple H is ruining wrestling. Well, again, 3 years ago, we were saying Triple H is bringing back wrestling because Vince McMahon had ruined wrestling. He had written really bad stuff for at the very earliest part of this decade and then late into the last decade. He really had wrestling on a down note, and Triple H creatively pushed a lot of right buttons, but now those buttons not quite working out. Not quite working out right now. El Rosto said, revealed whistleblowers warned that the SEC. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, El Rosto. Whistleblowers warned the SEC in 2023 that the LA Clippers and aspiration disguised Kawhi Leonard's marketing deal to circumvent the NBA salary cap, according to a secret government. Yeah, the paperwork is right there. They actually showed the affidavit right there on that. So yeah, it's the latest Pablo Torre finds out. He went live today at a conference, but they knew that. They even comment that it's so funny because Adam Silver was there in that chair just before they went on the air at that same conference, and they had actually the taped. That the funniest part about this El Rosto is they had the Pablo Torre had someone tape a copy of that affidavit right below the seats before the conference started for that day, before the panel started for that day. So Adam Silver was actually sitting right above a copy of the actual or proof that you mentioned that you're talking about right there. So he was actually sitting right above that proof the whole time when he was out there. So yeah, good point, Nick T. Absolutely. Good point. Good point indeed. Yes. Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do win 128 to 117. Again, I do want to go ahead before we head it out. I'm here for a while, though, if you guys, here for the next at least 20 minutes or so, if you guys want to stick around. I do want to ask your thoughts, though, on this. Bleacher Report, I guess, came out to Pinty. Big shout out to Pinty in Germany. Germany. He is a big super fan of Germany. He was asking or telling me about Bleacher Report putting out an article with a projected win before I think it was before the Indiana game, but after the Denver game, stating that the Lakers would only win 8 more games all season, which would lead to about a 47 win base. They talked about how they would be for about 47 wins. So that's 9 wins. I don't know why he said 8 wins, but 49 wins would be, so about 47 wins is what they would finish at. So let me get you guys straight up. It's right now 63 games into the season right now. 38 and 25 right there. 63 games into the 82 season. So 19 games left. And the Lakers, they think at Bleacher Report, this is why one of the reasons why I don't go to Bleacher Report, because they're just a rumor monger, and they're not what they used to be. I'll just put it that much, in my opinion. 38 and 25 right now. So they're predicted to only win 9 more games. I know that Allen, if you remember last week, he projected out a series of wins, and he talked about how they were going to struggle and finish under 500 the rest of the way. I believe is what he was saying. So I want to hear your thoughts with the schedule coming up. Do you think the Lakers can still reach 50 wins this season? That's what I want to hear your thoughts on. So basically, they have to win 12 of the next 19 games. Can they win 12 of the next 19? Go 12-7. I want to hear your thoughts on that. And let me know in the comments below. JSJ says we need to get rid of Rob and JJ. JJ says that we need to get rid of Rob and JJ. Yet for El Rosto says 48 wins. 48 wins there. So again, is that a success? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if 48 wins is the deal. I would like to see them at least match their record of last year. That would be nice, but they have blown opportunities when they're given to them this season. And this team, I don't know. It just seems like with the surrounding cast, is just not been able to give the Lakers exactly what they needed to be sustainable, to stay up high in the Western Conference. Everything would have to go right now to pass Houston, Denver, and especially Minnesota for them to get to third place. I am now thinking at the highest, if they go 12-7, if they go, I don't know, 13-6, they would get to maybe fourth place in the Western Conference, and that's going to be the probably where I'm thinking. 48, 49 wins. Vern, there you go. 49 at least. I'm thinking 48, 49. I'm thinking it's just slightly under what they did last year. Yes, Tony. What's going on, my friend? Yes, I did see that video. That took place at Golden State last Saturday. I did comment on it here on the show. And I also commented more on my Lakers Latest show. That's on Lakers Latest, courtesy of the Fan Arc Network. I did say that what JJ said, he's making none of, he said that he's not making a big deal of it. He didn't make a big deal all the time and to let it go. I'm just filing it away. I put the filing cabinet up here, putting in the filing cabinet, because I'm not 100% convinced of it. But again, if that's the case, fine. All right. whatever. We're gonna let it go. But I'm not 100% convinced, Tony, that there was nothing that came out of it. Arcarino says, "Are we going to play good teams in the final stretch? If so, I don't think so." Yes, but some of those teams will be giving, especially getting closer to the end of the season, tough. Some of those teams, like OKC, like San Antonio, they will be giving some of their guys, their top guys, some rest as we get closer to the end of the season. I'll just leave it at that. El Rosa said, "Yeah, it would be great to jump Denver." I just want to get a matchup against Houston. Who's the team that you want to face in the first round? I'm thinking Houston. That's the team I most likely the Lakers could match up well against right now uh, in a matchup right now. I'm thinking Houston because of their injuries with both Adams and Van Vliet. Those are the teams that I'm thinking. That's a team I think that probably matches up best. So if you could line up to that third, six, 4, 5, I don't know. Or if you try to stay out of OKC's bracket for the first 2 rounds. So right now that would be looking in the 3-6 matchup right there, as far as it's concerned, so that you stay out of the OKC bracket for the first 2 rounds. I don't know how you play this out. How do you try to game it? As we get closer to the end of the season, we'll have a clearer idea if the Lakers do decide to or should decide to. We've had this conversation before last season. So, yeah, there you go. Nick T says, I don't get Gerald. AR was the only minus in the starting lineup, minus 12. Well, remember also as well, Nick T, you got to remember he plays a lot with the second unit. Remember, Austin, the way they substitute patterns, especially with the fact that LeBron wasn't in there, the substitution pattern may had him playing with some of the second tier guys, it's the second unit guys, and sometimes it's a little bit misleading. The plus minus is not a be all end all. I mean, it you could take away some things from it, but you can't really say 100% it's true every single timeout, every single timeout. So I will say that again, as Austin Reeves, the only minus on the in the starting lineup. Nick T, I can't say I blame you. He struggled today again, and he's even, with LeBron out of the lineup, because I know that everybody's talked about how Reeves he's come back. It's been the big three, and he's been the third wheel and played like the third wheel ever since he came back. I get that, but this was an opportunity for him today to solidify his standing. And also, as well, with a free agency coming up, every game now is important for him. With 19 games left in the season, every game, including the playoffs, is important for his financial future and what you think the Lakers should or somebody else should commit to it. So there you go. But the plus minus deal, I don't totally take 100% away from it. But I do, Greg. I do give it some credibility. I do have to give it some credibility. And minus 12, I mean, it's just that's a lot of it based off of rotation patterns as well. So I don't get why of the players that he was out there with, even the second tier unit, the Vanderbilts, the Timmies, the Laravias, and the Kennards, they're all in the pluses. Everybody was in the pluses except for Austin Reeves. So when he was out there, the team was just not doing quite as well. All right. Roger said, "Bring back the Magic," but that's entirely up to him. He and I have spoken about it a couple weeks, but again, um, that is entirely up to him. And Joe, I don't think you would see Joe if you saw Magic Man. I'll just leave it at that. If you see Magic Man, you see Joe. You don't see Joe. If you see Joe, you don't see Magic Man. And I'll leave it at that. I'll just kind of leave it at that. Once again, the Lakers do win. Of course, getting to a 38-25 record with a 128-117 victory. So Dick T says they should trade him for a two-way shirt. I would love to have Trey Murphy on this team. And again, that could possibly be some things that I'm focusing, because I will be channeling my inner Laker Tom about what I think this team should try to go for in the offseason. And as it gets closer, I'm going to go ahead and mention some things like that. So yes, I will go ahead and talk about that in upcoming future episodes as we get closer to the free agency and the trades. They could become more prevalent. The draft. What should the Lakers do? Definitely want to get you guys in the mix when it comes to draft shows, when it comes to free agent shows, and what the Lakers should be doing is in the as far as it's concerned. Magic Man was a guy who was here for most of our tenure, off and on for quite a few shows, and they him and Joe did not see eye to eye on some things, and they had a mutual parting of the ways per se. And but he was a favorite among a lot of people with his basketball knowledge on this. So I'm going to give him a lot of credit. And while he was on the show and on the air, he was a great pleasure to talk to on that. So JSJ, thank you so much. Truly appreciate it. Again, unexpected. I know it's late for Legend, as you know, he's on the East Coast. John said he was couldn't make it, too busy tonight. So I said no problem. Joe, he's probably getting drunk somewhere. He's passed out along third base side somewhere along as where the Dodgers were playing tonight in exhibition baseball. So yeah, he's passed out. Laney said, is he related to Iron Man, aka AC? No, Laney, no. Magic Man is not. Magic Man is a Canadian, a great guy, and I'm wishing him continued success. But also, he got a new job position too. That his schedule is not did not make him as available as it did in the past. I'm still trying to get him on for an NBA observations. So hopefully those who are unfamiliar with him can go ahead and check him out. But his schedule has been tight, and we've had back and forth on it. But yes, I will hopefully get him back on the show in some form or fashion in the future. Vern, yes, that's again just him and Joe. You tell me which one you want, and that's probably the one that you would see here. And I'll leave it at that. Left on base, I said I was looking for the Ox all day, probably scared him off. Left, he is not hard to find because I'm 6'2", 225, and he's bigger than me. I think he says he's 6'3". I think he's 6'4" because he cleared me by 2 inches. And he still goes about 250, 260. He said he was at the high when I saw him face to face. He was about 270 at that time. I think he's saying 280. So yeah, he's a big guy. Wears black shirts for the most part. So said I'm assuming he was there. So Drip Show said, what happened? We need a behind the scenes. Drip Show, some guys have been privy to this on the email chain at times, and it's just been a mess. Behind the scenes of the LFB has been so much for such a small channel. And my goal originally was to bring more voices into this mix so you guys could see and feel that we're giving you a great mix of people that are bringing you entertainment and bringing you their thoughts and honest opinions on the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA. And in doing so, sometimes you bring in individuals that don't always agree on things, and it just causes and wreaks a lot of havoc behind the scenes. And I'll just say, thank goodness my hair is already gray, because it would have turned gray already with some of the stuff that's gone behind the scenes. And it's not just Joe and Magic Man. Laker Tom had issues before. Yeah, there's been a lot of drama over the years. Just a lot of drama over the years. Yeah, it's just. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But Vando, I can't get behind that one, El Roster. But you were on Vando Hill. Credit to you, because you are still on Vando Hill. I've been off for years, but you are on Vando Hill, my friend, and I credit you for sticking that flag out there. You, Pinty, Empire Jeff, you guys are still on Vando Hill. Today, 2 points for him, still provided some energy and hustle. I told you guys he would be back in some form or fashion. Again, 8 rebounds for him, 3 assists. Solid rebounding day for him. Again, a steal as well. Team defense, he is very good at. Man-to-man defense is not his forte as much as it used to be. Let's be honest with you on that. Lakers really don't have a great man-to-man defender anymore. Marcus Smart has lost a step clearly, but he is still can be a good defender in team situations and is probably still the best man-to-man defender. But yeah, Vando, you got to give credit for his hustle today, getting the 8 rebounds and also a plus 12 for him. If you are a believer in the plus 12, he was a positive influence on the game as well. But again, you got to go ahead and give credit to Luka taking the team on his back, 44 points today, 9 rebounds, all of them defensive. Just I think it really did. He was what exactly the Lakers needed to get this game in the books at 128 to 117. El Rosto says, I'm that yells like clouds. Hey, look, got to give El Rosto, first of all, helping us out, being part of the deal here with this right here from my man at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. We're going to go ahead and give away one of these here. We're going to set up a contest in the coming days to go ahead and get this started for a Young Mamba skateboard right there for you. If you are a subscriber of the Lakers Fast Break and you're a follower of at Drip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter, we're going to go ahead and get you taken care of on that. And if you're also in the continental U.S., because I don't think he can ship to outside the U.S., so sorry about that. But again, looking forward to going ahead and giving one of these babies away, courtesy of El Rosto and Drip Show Shop and the Lakers Fast Break. Cannot thank you enough for being a part of what we do. It is the Lakers Fast Break. Yeah, only in them. The shipping kills you, sports baby. The shipping absolutely kills you. It's just that simple. We're not going to BS you on that, especially now. Especially now, indeed. But again, just truly appreciate you guys joining me. Got a few minutes left. Want to go ahead and chat with you a little bit as far as the Lakers are concerned. Coming up on Sunday, it is the New York Knicks, 12:30 p.m. Pacific, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. It is going to be right there at the crypto.com arena. National television. It's an ABC game, everyone. So what are your thoughts? I think this is a game that the Lakers can take. I think this is a game that the Lakers can win. Also getting a measure of revenge for what happened at MSG. So there you go. Steinbauer says, I don't want to hear LeBron and Jordan in the same sentence. Matter of fact, the team is more cohesive without him. You should look up the arguments for LeBron versus Jordan. Sorry, it's in the same sentence. Arguments that I have on this channel with John Costa versus Joe Soro on who they think is the greatest of all time. Those are hilarious, especially the one I got of them. I've got to think about a 20-minute segment that I made in its own video that, yeah, you guys got to check out. It's hilarious because they're just so adamant. They're just so animated towards each other on that as far as who they thought is the GOAT. And it was just hilarious. JY says, this isn't the type of game that gets everyone going instead of Luka scoring 44 against the T-Wolves, Knicks, H-Town. You saw early on they just were not clicking offensively, and if Luka again does not have, you can see, and Nick T, to his credit, he sees that Luka does not have a whole lot of faith in his teammates to get things done, and they have a very shaky relationship with Luka, and that if they're not clicking right away, he does not have faith in him, and he puts more on himself. And you see, he tries to, especially in the first quarter. 20 points in a quarter for him in a game. I don't know. I think they said that's the first time that's happened since they started recording stats like that. Although I would assume Will Chamberlain has done something like that. But again, it's the 5th time for him this season where he scored 20 or more points in the first quarter. So he likes to get off to good starts. But again, I think it's just about him also not having enough confidence in his teammates if they're struggling. And today they just continue to struggle throughout the game. But part of that, to Nick T's argument, would be maybe because he relies too much on himself to go ahead and get things done. But today they needed it. Today it looked like this team needed the offensive lift that Luka gave him today. And that's all I'll say. Again, if you don't like him, you don't like him. If you love him, you love him. But he is going to be here for a while, guys. And that's something I think you're going to have to get used to. Even if you're a Luka, I don't want to say hater, but Luka just not in love with him type deal as far as being on the Lakers, you're going to have to come to the grips to the fact that he's going to be here for a while. I know El Rosto was saying trade him already, but as of now, the foreseeable future is for the team to build around Luka. And I think it needs to start, to answer a question from earlier. I think it needs to start as soon as this summer. You cannot waste Luka in his prime years, any more years. I think Rob kind of wasted this year with his gap year, with his moves, you know, under the radar, cost saving moves, whatnot. He didn't go all out. I think when he had options to do so early in the summer, and he didn't. So I'm just going to say right now that when it comes to what Rob needs to do, if Rob is still the GM, which I'm hoping he's not, but if he's still the GM, then he needs to start building a championship team around Luka that's going to contend in the top 3 in the Western Conference or in the top 5 overall starting next season. Otherwise, you are going to lose the fan base. You're going to lose the Luka. You know, you're going to lose. You're going to lose a lot of things if that's the case, and he'll be gone by that time if this team doesn't produce. But you've got a clean cap space that you can make. You got a clean slate when it comes to cap space. You can make happen this summer, and if that's the case, you should start building that championship team and doing it as soon as the summer. Do I think he's the right guy to do it? No, absolutely not. I do not have any faith in Rob's team building at all, in his roster construction. I'm hoping that all these people that are now around him, as far as these executives, can help him build this team into a true success story. But I just, him still as the guy making the moves at the end of the day, I really have my concerns. Really have my concerns. And if you guys think otherwise, or if you agree with me, let me know in the comments too before we head on out. Tony said, we had Kobe, who was tough, played hard on both ends of the floor. He said, example, it's like Luka's just watching no defense and so much complaining. He I get that. I understand that, Tony. I'm not sitting here and going to defend Luka when it comes to that, because that he has been. But you can see when he turns it on and gives effort on the defensive end, he can play good defense. He can play fair defense, I should say. He can play fair defense. He cannot. He cannot be a traffic cone on the defensive end if he so chooses to. I remember the Boston game. He was playing really effective defense for most of the game, and he was giving effort on for most of the game on that side of the ball. But you're right. Does he do it in most games? No, he does not do it. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you differently. Should he do it more often? Yes. But when it comes right down to it, and let's say Rob does actually build a team that has a roster that you, that I, that Joe, that John, that Legend, that everybody up that's a part of this, Mark, everybody out there that says, you know what, this is a championship team. Let's say Rob does that. Then it's up to him when it matters the most to play that level of defense, to play a acceptable level of defense and effort on that end of the ball. And if he doesn't, then you guys can rip on him all day long. And I would have no problem with it because, yeah. El Rosa said, yeah, you should have traded Reese at the deadline. I think we've been clear, El Rosto. He is in our eyes, Joe and mine, sixth man. We've said this for years, as a sixth man on a championship team. But now you put him in a situation where he's now the top guy in the free agent market. He is the one that certain teams might be throwing out 35, 38, $40 million. They might do an overpay and offer him $40 million a year, $42 million a year, $45 million a year. Do I think he's worth it? No. Quite frankly, no. I don't think he's worth it in my eyes, because again, there's like Luka, there's problems there. If you put Luka and Austin out there continuously as your starting backcourt, you're going to have issues on one side of the ball throughout the regular season and into the playoffs. And that is a problem. That's a problem you'll have to address. And I don't know how you're going to be able to address it when you'll have over $90 million possibly right there is your backcourt that you've already addressed it with. And that could be a problem. Yeah, that could be a possibility. If your team let's just throw out a team like there. Let's throw out a team that I'm hoping will be interested in him. Miami. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm hoping Miami will have interest because if that's the case, they might have to. Pat Riley might throw 35, $40 million. You might have to go out and throw out an overpay that makes the Lakers blink. And then if that's the case, you would have to hope that the Lakers would be willing to participate in a sign and trade scenario to bring assets back to the Los Angeles Lakers. That's what I'm hoping would happen. But yes, a Reeves Luka backcourt. Yes, I understand that the bros forever, and that they understand that they're bromates, and they have the universal brotherly love with each other, and they have so much fun with each other and all that. But I'm sorry, this is basketball. You got to put out your best team that you can, and it's just hard for the Lakers to continually during the regular season put out a Luka Austin backcourt defensively. It's just so hard to make up for that with the other three guys, unless the three guys are the three best defenders in the league. So, and that's the hard deal I have. Austin Reeves is a nice player, great success story, building himself up from an undrafted player. Remember, he was undrafted. But because of the fact that he wasn't undrafted, there are certain attributes that he didn't have that he still doesn't have today, and they're mostly on the defensive side. And he has built himself into being the top player on the free agent market this summer, and credit to him. And if I'm his agent, I'm asking for every single dollar. I know you guys said, oh, he'll sign for less. He said he would sign for less for the Lakers. This is his one chance at generational wealth, and one chance at a $150, $200 million plus contract. I am not doing my client justice if I'm not going and trying to push for every dollar I can for him from the Lakers or somebody else. And I'm hoping it's somebody else, because the fact is, I think you need to put that money and the assets to someone a little bit more well-rounded, or at least more defensive-minded, to pair with Luka. And I'll leave it at that. Tony says defense has a lot to do with the effort. If Luka gave more effort on the defensive end, I would be okay with that. But he doesn't, Tony, and I'm not going to sit here he doesn't. When he does, it sticks out. When he does, it does stick out to me, and that's the problem. It shouldn't stick out. It should be an everyday type of thing. But he obviously gives so much in the offensive end that he does take one side of the ball off. But the problem is, LeBron does too. And the problem is Austin does too. Well, Austin, he's just not a guy that plays good defense. It's just that simple. And you just have a team that's so troubled and so flawed defensively, it's going to be a problem in the playoffs. But we will see if those three guys are clicking offensively, they can overcome a lot of shortcomings on the defensive end. But I still think that it's still not going to be the longest run in the playoffs for the Lakers at this point. Maybe they can get through the first round again with the right matchup. Remember, the playoffs are all about matchups. I think they match up currently with Houston pretty good. Minnesota, we saw what happened last year, and they're actually could be a little bit better than they were last year, and still not make it to the Western Conference Finals. If they face San Antonio, that's not going to be good news for them at all, because Wembanyama and the three guards there, they could really be problematic for the Lakers. And Denver, you see that they're competitive. They're competitive, but if Denver's fully healthy, that's going to be a tough thing to go ahead and match up against as well. Roger said losing Reeves for nothing is bad asset management and should have been a fireable offense. Yeah, again, that's right there. You should know what's coming. But if the Lakers let him walk for nothing, don't do a sign and trade and just let him walk for nothing, or they sign him to a $40 to $45 million contract, I don't know which is worse, because both are really going to be hard for the Lakers moving forward. But the Lakers, again, it'll be a good offensive unit, a good offensive backcourt duo, probably one of the best in the league, but defensively, it's just going to be a problem, and you're only going to have so much of a ceiling with that backcourt the way it is there. But again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. I truly appreciate you joining me. It is Gerald Glasser. Thanks again. Doing solo tonight. Surprised me as well. I will make sure that there is a show about 12 hours from now at 11 a.m. I'm going to have it posted. The Lakerholics said they were going to do one. Jamie may or may not host it. If he's not there, I'll be here. I'll be here for you guys. So we'll have some good Laker talk on Saturday for you as well. Roger said, I'd rather watch Vari deliver food than watch Aiton in a 7-game. Again, guys, I can't complain too much about DeAndre Ayton because I wasn't a Portland fan or a Phoenix fan because they paid a lot more for this same exact experience, for the same exact production, and for the same exact appearance from DeAndre Ayton. Now, mind you, he was better in that finals run, leading into that finals run for Phoenix. That was his, time. Okay, he's starting to look good, starting to put it all together as a number 1 draft pick. They gave him the money, and it started to go downhill from there. And you see what you get with the DeAndre Ayton experience. People are worried about him opting into the second year of his contract. I'm not so much because it's at $8 million. It is tradable with under the right circumstances. So I'm not as fearful of that. But again, I don't see him coming back to the Lakers next season under any circumstances. So I think that's that is what it is. Sports maybe said Thiero doesn't even play. Yeah, I don't know because he seemed healthy. He played in the G League all last week with Bronny James. In fact, all the guys that you see, the Drew Timmies, the Kobe Buffkins, Nick Smith Juniors, they all played last week in the G League. And I don't know why they didn't play Thiero today. It's just strange because you traded up twice to get this guy because you thought he could bring you something athletically and defensively that the Lakers didn't have or that the Lakers needed more of. And now that he's finally healthy, he's finally overcome all those injury issues and injury problems, and yet you don't do anything with him. You don't even know how he looks at a competitive NBA level. All these other guys that we saw there tonight, the Bronny James, the Kobe Buffkins, the Drew Timmies, the Chris Manions, even to an extent, Dalton Connects. You already know what you're going to get. You already know what you're going to get. Some of these guys are earmarked for back of the end of the roster at best for the rest of their careers. Some of them do not look like they will stay in the league much longer. Some of them, like Dalton Connect, you still think maybe if he gets another opportunity somewhere else, he might be a better player for it. But with Adou Thiero, you just don't know. And with Maxime Renal in Sacramento, with Diawara in New York, with Love in Portland, with all these other rookies that were either drafted or undrafted after you moved up twice to get Thiero, I haven't seen anything. So that's a concern. That's a concern that you have because now he's healthy. Give him an opportunity to play real basketball in the first and second quarters to see what he actually might have at this point in time. But we can't see that because JJ doesn't play him. And that's the problem. Steinbauer Sports says, hope you're making bread here, getting quite a few commercials. If you saw what I report every year on my taxes here, it'd be like, somebody's making some money, but not me a whole lot. I do this because I love you guys. I do this because I love doing this. I do this because I enjoy my conversations with you. But yes, as I always say, Steinbauer, right now in the YouTube marketplace, you cannot earn a living. You cannot live off of a YouTube salary if your videos are less than 20,000 on average. It's just that simple. I think I'd say even 25,000, I think at this point in time, but yeah, at least 20,000, 25,000. Even if you put out 10 to 14 videos a week, it's still hard if you're not doing if you're doing under 20,000 views every video, then yeah, you're just not doing anything. It's just not sustainable. It's not sustainable. Thieros' agent is Rich Paul. Yeah, that's great. That's great. That's awesome. Doesn't help us at all. And that's the thing. I'm hoping Mark Walter, him coming in, him bringing all these Dodger execs in, the LeBron James, when LeBron James leaves, You also have to remember, Matea. And by the way, I didn't say last night because you wished me well at the end of the show, and I was already off the air. I want to wish you well as well. I do wanted to thank you for watching yesterday too. I forgot to mention you, so big shout out to you, Matea. The thing is, though, when it comes to, and I'll leave you guys on this note. When LeBron leaves, whether it's next this season or next season, and I know that Alan and Mark have gone back and forth on the next season, and we'll have to wait and see. And I think I'm going to write up here an article pretty soon on what you do with LeBron as far as that situation is concerned. I got to write up an article that you'll see right here on the channel in the post. But yeah, once LeBron leaves, Rich Paul loses a lot of his sway and a lot of his power, a lot of his swagger. And it doesn't how many players he has under contract. Thank you, DBSH. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Yo, give him some support as well. He's getting close to 20,000 subscribers on his channel. Big shout out to him, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, right there for you. Appreciate the super chat immensely, immensely, and greatly appreciated. But I will say this again: Rich Paul loses a lot of sway with the Lakers the day LeBron James leaves the organization, and I'll just leave it at that. It doesn't matter how many players are still, or clients he still has on this team going forward. Once LeBron leaves, that's Rich Paul. That becomes less and less and less. Yeah, DBSH. Yeah, truly appreciate it. Check out his streams. Check out his highlights right there at Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Indeed. But yes, you know firsthand, DBSH. You know where the breaking point on making money in YouTube, a living out of it and not living out of it, what it is. And you put out tons of videos each and every week, highlights videos. Some of them gain traction, some of them don't. And you know that it's just so hard to go ahead in this medium to try and separate yourself out to even earn a living on it. That's my goal. That's what I told Joe when he came on. Joe came on like 2-3 years ago. He said, "What is your goal here?" I said, "To earn a living. If I could make what I once made in the business world out there from my various dealings in the business world out there, if I make a living out of this, if I make it to the point where you're getting to what the average individual is making out there, then I would consider that a success." I'm not even anywhere near that right now. Not even anywhere in the zip code of that right now. So again, I'm just doing this right now for fun, for enjoyment, for you guys out there. We have a following. It's greatly appreciated. I do my stuff with Lakers Latest because I'm trying to help that fan arc network, because they're a small fledgling network of tons of shows, but they needed a Lakers guy. And I just thought, you know what? I have 15 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day to do this. So I would helping them out on Lakers Latest. And for you guys here, I've been doing this so many years because I love the Lakers. I did this because I love the Lakers, and I wasn't expecting to get anything from it, and anything I do get from it, like for instance, this right here from Drip Show. I'm extremely blessed that you guys are so kind. Drip Show has been very kind with his gifts to me, and it's stuff like that, and the stuff like that you guys say on the shows, the Rogers of the world, the Craigs of the world, that give me compliments, the guys that go out there and watch me every day, the Pinties of the world. You guys are the reason why I still do this each and every time out. So cannot thank you enough. Appreciate Arcarino. But yes, if you want to know the breaking point, that from what I'm able to ascertain, a breaking point I think is 20,000 views per video. I think that's what I would say as far as if you wanted to make a living. If you started a YouTube channel now, first you got to get to 1,000 subscribers. You got to get to 4,000 watch hours. If you put out short content, that's the hard deal, is the 4,000 watch hours. I put out longer content, as you know, but for someone like John Costa, who puts out his 3-minute reports, and just, a lot of his watch hours are based off of our post game, because it's also on his channel. So it's a tough deal to do the 4,000 watch hours. For us, it wasn't as much because I do long form programming, but yeah, it's out there, and it's tough. But once you make that threshold where you start making, or can do start earning revenue, it's just so hard to do it on a basis. It's the haves and the have-nots, and there are a lot more have-nots than there are haves out there. It's just that simple. But again, I just truly appreciate any support I get. If you know someone out there that loves the banter that we have or would like the banter that we do have on this show, please have them stop on by. We're not for everybody. Joe drives half our audience away at times. I get that. I understand that. But again, if you are entertained by what we do, I cannot thank you enough for your continued support. But JSJ says we need to fire Rob before he caters to a LeBron farewell tour. Again, this is the thing that you have to ask yourself. LeBron on the minimum, is that more of a headache or is that more of a financially it's a windfall for the Lakers if they can sign him next year at the minimum. But again, as I talked about to our Carino's question from earlier, and thanks again, DBSH, truly appreciate it. Our Carino's was talking about what's the deal with LeBron. Just for me, it's just the noise. And is there too much noise at whatever price? Right now, he is again the best 40 or 41-year-old player we've ever seen in the NBA, but he's making $52.6 million. So you're not getting $52.6 million in production from it. So it's a kind of a dichotomy there. But if he's if you want to pay him the minimum or if he wants a much lowered salary and they get talked into going ahead and offering to him, I don't know. I don't know what that does. It's going to create, I think, more problems than it's worth, but we'll have to wait and see. JSJ says you influenced Joe and Coolbro to make content. Bravo, Gerald. Yeah, I I'm just trying to. I'm just trying to go ahead and do what I can. I've been doing this. I've been podcasting since 2009, and the dream's still there. The dream is still there to be one of those big guys, and I hope one day that will happen before I go. Or well, my mom. I told you, I started the show with my mom, my 92-year-old mother, talking to me about the Lakers, and I'm hoping I can reach that age here, and hopefully by that time I can go ahead and say that yeah, I made as a success on YouTube. But that's all up to you guys. That's all up to you guys. But again, the Lakers do win 128 to 117. The Lakerholics will be here in about 12 hours from now. I have a feeling I'll be hosting it because Jamie's had some issues as of late with his technical stuff on that. So I have a feeling I'll be here. So I will look forward to seeing you. And then also as well, you'll get to see me again here in the morning on Lakers Latest on that channel on YouTube, courtesy of the Fan Art Network, because I'm going to go ahead and get the recap there and record that there for you guys and get your thoughts there as far as your comments on that. So here you go. Arcarinos, one last question. If you were Adam Silver, who was at that same conference that Pablo Torre was at, what 3 changes would you make? Increase salary cap, etc. I understand Joe's argument, and we've gone back and forth on this, on his thoughts on the CBA and the fact that the league does do better when there's a fewer amount of teams, highlighted teams, central teams, LA, Chicago, New York, Boston, that are winning the majority of the titles, et cetera, like it was a viewing product at that point in time. I would probably say, but nothing is ever going to happen. Yes. Lakers need to concentrate on winning, not on Hollywood drama. Yes, but you're in LA. You're in LA, Matea. I don't know what to tell you on that. El Rosa says, I would spend Kawhi for 2 seasons. Find the Clippers the total amount, reverse his contract, and send SGA to the now you're punishing Oklahoma City and all this too. That's funny. That's hilarious. But as far as the 3 changes I would make with the NBA, first of all, get rid of blackouts. I cannot stand blackouts. Talk to the FCC and say no more blackouts for NBA. If you want to do it for any other sport, that's up to you. But no more NBA blackouts. That has to go. At this point in our society in 2026, if you're going to go to the game, even with all the elevated prices, you're going to go to the game. You're going to decide you're going to go to the game. You're going to save up enough money for it, and you're going to go ahead and spend money on it. If you're going to stay at home, you're going to watch the game. Forget all this 1970s BS blackouts. These regional blackouts, it does nothing for nobody. So that's the first thing I would take away. I would increase the salary cap, our Carino, to allow for other players to go ahead to be on the roster so you could have more super teams in bigger markets. So maybe that would create that. The third thing, that I would probably go ahead is I would try to make rules so that it's easier to trade. Because if you increase the salary cap, you might also be able to make it better for increase in trades as far as the concern. That's what maybe a fallout from is because the trade market trade deadline is really something that the league needs to focus on more as far as the importance of it and the ability for teams to trade in the summer needs to focus on more as highlighting for where these players are changing places and changing teams because that's exciting to a fan base. That's exciting and interesting to a fan base. So I love to go ahead and do that. JSJ says take off the apron, suspend any players for illegal money, take out back to backs. Yeah, but you're catering into JSJ, the newer generation. The older generation play back to back to backs, and you didn't hear 1/10 of the amount of complaints that you do now about it. And they have better facility, like Joe always says, they have better facilities, better planes. They have masseuses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they're just being out. They're just, they're out. They just load management has damaged the league in essence. So I would try as a third rule to finish off our Carino's list would be to do something that effectively gets rid of tanking and load management. And you hit them where it hurts. You hit them with multi-million dollar fines from the get-go. If they load manage, they're going to get fined. If they're trying to intentionally tank, you try and build a system where they can't intentionally tank and intentionally where they're incentivized to not do so. And if they try to do so, you hurt them where it hurts the most. That's what I'm doing. Games are too long. Well, the replays are part of it as well. That's part of it. And Nick, if they get through everything right, the fast games, they could be as little as two. There are games so in this league that are 2 hours and 15 minutes long. I think that's a perfect time. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes. But like you said, 2.5 hours, getting close to three, that's a breaking point for a lot of people. And I get that. I understand that. So you should try to do things that make the game shorter, more accessible to 2 hours and 15 minutes. I would be acceptable to that as well. Yes, too many challenges. I understand it. I agree. I don't like the challenges. Again, bad calls don't rarely seem to get overturned. They stay bad calls. The refs sometimes justify their bad calls. Even when they're called out and they're challenged, they still get, they still will say, oh, well, there was still marginal or incidental contact on that play. So they still go ahead and try to find it out more times than not. They don't reverse the calls that are blatant that we see often enough. And yeah, Nick T says get rid of foul baiting. Well, that would take obviously with Luka, obviously with Austin, that would take quite a bit of their game away. Trae Young, SGA, but foul baiting, yeah, but you have to determine what foul baiting is. I mean, they curbed flopping quite a bit in this league, so they have to try. I would agree, they would try to make efforts to curb foul baiting even more, but you'd have to determine what is a foul, not a foul, legitimate foul, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, those are good suggestions, Nick T. I couldn't say I disagree with any of them. I think that's some good suggestions by both you and just JSJ. El Rosta says nothing will ever happen on the quiet. I'm not going to. I'm hopeful, El Rosto, that something will happen with the Kawhi deal, that they will get a very stiff penalty. I think they deserve 5 number ones taken away, the maximum amount of dollars you can go ahead and find Steve Ballmer and take away 5 number one picks down the road from them and then suspend Kawhi for a year. You said 2 years. I would have no problem with that. I don't know if they'll do that. I think they should. But remember, Steve Ballmer is also, one of the biggest supporters and biggest contributors to the NBA and the league and to Adam Silver and your sugar daddy. You're punishing your sugar daddy. So I don't have a belief that they will do very much to it, but I think there's enough out there, especially with what Pablo Torre has found out. Pablo Torre finds out that you cannot deny it anymore, especially what he put out there today. And it's just that simple. I don't know how you're going to be able to get around it because it just invites all these other teams to do it more egregiously. I think in some stretch, some of these teams are already doing it in sports, whether it's in NBA, NFL, NHL, Major League Baseball. Some of these teams are already doing some nasty stuff. I'm pretty convinced of it. But if nothing happens with Kawhi Leonard and he gets off scot-free and the Clippers get off scot-free, then I think that you're just inviting all these other teams to do some nasty stuff as well. Arcarino says, Gerald, would you ever interview your mom and ask her questions about her life? Oh, dear Lord. I don't know. I wouldn't put it on the air. I would not. My mom, first off, would not be wanting to go on camera. She's not those ones that she doesn't even like to take pictures and photos, to be honest with you. For the last 40, 50 years of her life, she just does not like taking very many photos. So to get her into a room on YouTube to go ahead on the air to question her about she has got some interesting stories because her background is from El Paso in Texas. Her family immigrated from Mexico, and she has a life about especially when she was younger, how she had a rough start. She had a rough few years. Her first 20 years of her life was rough, and she had to go do a lot of stuff on her own. She had to go on her own. She had to make her own way in this world. She did meet with my dad, met my dad in California, and they hit it off. And my, my sister and I were the results of that. So yes, she has some interesting story to tell, especially out of early years. And now that she's 92, that's what she's reflecting on. And so often my conversations with her, she reflects on back on her life in those days. And that's what the truly enjoyable part of my conversation with her. And would she want to go on camera? She would call me something in Spanish, something detrimental. Starting first with estúpido and then going on from there. And she would probably curse me in Spanish before declining that request. Oh, you meant it to be private. Okay. Oh, no worries. I hear from her all the time. Because she tells stories right now, especially at this age. She reflects a lot back on her life at this age, and she has a lot of stories from her past that she does bring up quite a bit because a lot of her relatives are no longer alive. And she does try to harken back on those days quite a bit. So those are interesting stories to tell, and she passes it along to my children as well, as far as those stories as well. So that's what is very enjoyable. So what happens when you're 92? You can't do much. You can't. It's not like you can go around and be active and live that active life. Not too many 92-year-olds are very active. Some are, but William Shatner's 96 and he's still rocking. So still going to cons and all that. So, but my mom, no, she's just hanging out and she's just enjoying whatever time she has left, and she's reflecting back on some of the good things that really happened in life. And the Lakers. She reflects on the Lakers and whatnot. So Mateja says, does anyone make referees accountable for their mistakes? Yes, Mateja. Supposedly, to finish off the last question with you, my friend. Again, thank you for supporting me here at the show. They do have supposedly a governing body, not just the NBA, the head of referees. They do critique grade the referees. They have suspended referees in recent past, but do they do it as much as they should? No. They do the 2-minute report, which I don't know if you're aware of, is that every game has a 2-minute report the next day by the league that they send out, saying what calls, close calls, mistakes, or things that were right that the refs did, or mistakes that happened during that 2-minute report. They should make that a full game report because, as you know, not every call is made during the last 2 minutes of every game. And we should be privy to the grades that they give these refs on an every game basis by the guys that actually oversee the refs. But yes, there is in the NBA a division, a department that actually, and a head of referees. I don't know if it's Monty McCutcheon, but the head of referees that still looks over and evaluates and critiques referees to see if they're still capable at refereeing at the NBA level. And again, that's what they do for G. They really scrutinize the G League referees because those are the guys and gals they're supposed to go to the next level at some point in time. So that's where they really get scrutinized, and in summer league as well. There's a base of NBA referees, regular NBA referees that they appoint for summer league to watch and study the referees that are performing in summer league. So it's not just the guys and that are performing there at summer league for the teams that are just trying to get on a team or make a team or improve their status on the team. It's the referees, their summer league as well. They're, if you watch them, they're those guys and gals that are working in summer league are hopeful that they can get a good grade to get into the G League and then get into, or some of them work in the G League to get into the NBA at that point in time. Arcario says, that good to know you're having conversations like that when you're, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes it's the timing though. As you know, with your mom, they sometimes call you like when you're least expecting it or least wanting it, like right before you start a show. like today. Like today. I had the start stream button right there, be ready to press, and ding 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 ding. Gerald, the Lakers won, right? I'm not sure. I'm watching it. I'm not sure. Yes, they won, Mom. Yes, they won. Okay, good, good, good. I just wanted to tell you. And then, yeah, so it turned to be into a 5-minute conversation. So I apologize for the delay, but I am thankful for everyone that stopped by. Silver just got here. Knicks scored 142 against Denver. And I wonder what's in store. I wonder. Again, the Knicks are kind of an up and down team, but I am thinking though, Silver, that the Lakers have a chance on Sunday. You know me, I call it like I see it, and I'm not always the most positive on the Lakers, but I think of the next couple, the Minnesota game is going to be hard because Minnesota's playing at a great level. Denver at home, they're just not a great team, and the Lakers should have taken advantage of that on Thursday. There's no excuse for that, especially with the Lakers had everybody there, well, at least for the first 5 minutes. So again, that 11-0 run that they started the game with, that was a killer right there. That was the game right there in a nutshell. But the Lakers, again, at home against the Knicks are playing well, but I think they are beatable. And if any game in the upcoming with them and Minnesota, I think it's going to be this game is the game that they have to have on Sunday. No, Mateo, they can't relax once they get like because they're evaluated as well. As I was trying to say, they are evaluated on a regular basis. They can be suspended. There have been suspensions for referees for egregious calls this season, so they can't rest on their laurels. If they're not doing well enough, they can be suspended or sent down to the G League, just like a regular player can. I have heard instances where referees in the NBA have been sent down to the G League or suspended. So that's something that they have disciplinary actions too if they're egregious. And of course, if they have a bet, they're part of a betting scandal or a shaving point scandal, then obviously that's real trouble. But I will say again that they have a governing body in the NBA that oversees what they're doing as well. And I think that it's maybe not as stringent as I would like to see. In fact, there's a lot of referees that have been around the league, and you know them by now, that have been there for over 10 years, 15 years in the league, and they just seem to get away with what they're doing. So it is a little less stringent as I would like to see it, but they are disciplined, especially for the younger refs. I think they're harder on the younger refs. If refs in their first, second, third, fourth year in the NBA, those eyes are a lot more scrutinized on them than they are the guys that have been there for 10, 20 years. And you know who I'm talking about on that. El Rose just says, I'm just really tired of the referees making calls differently based on the mantras of the league office to please whatever advertising platform they are on when the networks decide. They will tell you what sometimes they're told by the league to let stuff go during the course of the season. Sometimes like there was a period when the league was really high scoring. I think it was like last season when the league was really high scoring and they were making less calls, or they were getting to the free throw line. The players were on a higher basis, and the league, I think around January or the turn of the calendar year of 2025, told them to, in no certain terms, or the word was out that they were changing the style of refereeing, and you saw it reflective in the scores. of the games as well. So the referees, as we always say, can determine greatly what that outcome is. Ultimately, I believe it's on the teams and the organizations to put that they put out there for the teams they put out there, to ultimately decide who wins and who loses games throughout the course of what they do in four quarters. But the referees can also weigh a portion into that with what they decide at any given moment in time, and especially at when it's most important in the latter moments of a game as well. El Rosa says refs manipulate the game way too often. Again, it's what they see and what they're told to see and what they focus on more. Like, for instance, we made a comment like yesterday, El Roaster, like Jokic got a 3-second call. It's like, when was the last time you saw a 3-second call called? Huh. That was years ago. Yeah. Oh, wow. But you see, they hang out. You could count how many times you could see opposing players in the key, Lakers or otherwise, in the key for more than 3 seconds. You could count one, two, three. I don't want to say every possession, but you could almost every possession. You could just like holding calls in football. They hold on the lines every single play. It's just if it's egregious, they'll call it, and if they don't, if it's not egregious, they probably don't call it. So yeah, it's again, it's interesting what they call and what they don't call with the refs. Silver says you probably discussed already if the lack of a second proper ball handler is a concern for us. Pacers with their full court was really taking it was, and that's why I think that they sat him down. But because you see, he gets off to these great starts. This is his fifth game that he's gotten over 20 points in the first quarter, and he just loses steam over the course of the four quarters. But Rick Carlisle does put full court pressure on you, and it does sap away at some of the things. But he's got to trust his teammates more. To Nick T's credit, he doesn't trust his teammates enough. And it's in these occasions he's got to trust his teammates more, and also up to JJ as a coach to say, okay, if they're applying full court pressure, I've got to make adjustments as well to handle the full court pressure. While they don't have a strict ball handler per se, I mean, Austin Reeves should be good enough, although I've seen him making mistakes from time to time, should be good enough, but they have other players that they can get in the mix that you can throw out to that should alleviate some of those problems. But you're right, another ball handler would be something that I think that they should look forward to getting in the summertime as well. But yeah, just great questions, man. You guys, great comments. Just truly appreciate it. Again, shout out to my mom, who hopefully is doing well out there. And shout out to you guys for stopping on by. It is Gerald Glassford. The game is the Lakers and the Indiana Pacers. The Lakers win 128-117. Once again, the Lakers are 38-25, a half game out of fifth place in the Western Conference. Looking forward to seeing what happens there. Again, the Nuggets losing tonight to the New York Knicks. That's what we're saying. 142 spot by New York. It's interesting. Denver and the Lakers played back to back. Denver was home. The Lakers had to go from the road back to home on that flight, and the Lakers ended up looking the better of two. Interesting how that works itself out, indeed. But we will see. Bring back D'Lo. Oh, grab Lonzo too, and Simmons. Oh, I think you're trolling me, O Roaster. But you know what? You can troll me, man, anytime, because you helped make this happen right here. It is, of course, at Trip Show Shop on Instagram and Twitter. We are going to be running a contest here. We're going to be starting up a contest here in the next few days that you can win if you're in the continental United States. One of these bad boys right here, an actual young Mamba at Trip Show Shop, Kobe Bryant skateboard right there for you to display or slap some wheels on this bad boy and see what happens, indeed. Any chance we get a new coach in the offseason? Yes, there is a chance. I am not giving up as a given that JJ is going to make it to next season. It's still 60-40, 70-30 in favor of JJ, but the narrative changes if he doesn't go far in the playoffs. I'll leave it at that. But I think there is a chance that he could be changed. There could be pressure on him to be changed if he doesn't go far in the playoffs, but we will see. If they get swept in the first round, that changes a lot of things. We'll see. No, it's not really that hot of a take, El Rosto. I think it's you're starting to see some signs. He's made some decisions. He gets out coached regularly during the course of the season. He's still inexperienced. And if the Lakers do get swept after only winning one game in the previous playoffs, it's not much of a hot take. That seat will be very hot. Right now it's 70-30. I'd say he stays, but again, we'll see playoff time. We'll see how it works. Because remember, Rob and JJ are both, I think, fighting for their jobs at this point in time for their future long-term success. Yes, I know they both signed extensions, but that was before that was before Mark Walter came in here. So yeah, I'll just say that. I don't believe JJ can win us a championship. Again, it's all based upon the talent and the opportunity. And you're right, the right coaching acumen. We'll have to wait and see if he does that. I'm not 100% sold on JJ, but he does make mistakes, and they are glaring at times. Like yesterday with what happened with not having a shooter out there in Rui or Luke Kennard when you needed it the most in that final minute. I think that was a big mistake on his part, and that one you have to put on JJ. And again, how many of those are you going to take? But if he does go to the second round and has a competitive second round, he's good for next season. It's just as simple as that. But it's not a hot take, Real Roaster. I know you're a big JJ fan, and I appreciate and respect the fact that you're a big JJ fan, but it is not a done deal. I don't care if he's on an extension, because if Mark Walter wants it to happen, he will make it happen. So would I rather hire Mike Malone than Doc Rivers? Oh, yeah. Doc Rivers, again, Mr. 3-1. All you do is say 3-1, and you say that. Yeah, I know he's won a championship, but yeah, Mike Malone. But I don't know if his tenor would be right with the Lakers. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But Steve Kerr's contract does come off this offseason. Oh, that would piss off Joe to nothing. But again, Steve Kerr, he looks burnt out. He just looks burnt out at this point in time. I think he's done. I think he goes back to the front office or commentating. I think NBC makes him an offer that he can't refuse. That's my deal. Left on base says, just put the Ox as their head coach. He'll yell at them. Too bad it won't be Adam. Yeah, I'd love to see him as coach. There you go. That would work out. That would work out for all 5 games, and then he'd be fired because somebody would get too mad. Somebody would be having their, just really just would not be able to tolerate Joe's yelling, and I don't think Joe would like that either. But no more rookie coaches. Well, I mean, it depends. If you're a rebuilding team, yeah, but if you're a team with aspirations to do better, like the Lakers with Luka Doncic, you put in a qualified head coach that has experience, that has success. Those are hard to find, but if you're going to be able to do it, you got to do it. So, all right. With that, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining me. Cannot thank you enough. A big shout out to, again, everyone that's been a part of this for the entire hour and 45 minutes, or if you just hopped on by. Truly appreciate you doing so. The Lakers, JJ, not a rookie, though. He's a true analyst. He is still, he's only been coaching now at any level for this period of time he's been with the Lakers. And he still is apt to make mistakes. And whether you say it's experience or whether you say it's an analytics issue, whatnot, it's still, he's got to be able to make the right adjustments at the right time so that the Lakers can achieve ultimate success. And right now, El Rosto, even by your admission, suspend him now. Yes, absolutely. Suspend me now because I said aspirations. I'll say, even by your admission, El Rosto, that the Lakers are projected to go ahead and be less successful than the year before. That's not the way you want to go. But again, we'll see what happens. The playoffs will determine a lot about the future for Rob, the future for JJ, the future for LeBron, whole 9 yards. So I think that will do it. The playoffs will determine the future for a lot of things for the Lakers, and we will have to wait and see. But there is 19 games left. So that's 19 more times during the regular season. I can come back at you here after the post game. I enjoy doing so. So again, thank you so much for watching, listening. The Lakers do win 128-117. Don't ever want the Lakers to lose unless they're tanking. That's a different story. But again, I will be on, or the Lakerholics will be on Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Hopefully you'll join us there. And then Sunday after the game, I'm looking forward to being back on here for the post game right here, courtesy of Drip Show, El Rosto, and everybody out there. Thank you so much for being part of what we do each and every time out right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Thanks so much, everyone, and have yourself a great weekend. There you go, Rosto. Have a great weekend, everyone. Be safe.